Well, the project is called the Irish Centre on Wrongful Convictions. It was launched here on the 2nd of October. It's a new project. It's a grassroots human rights organisation. Its primary concern will be to work with prisoners or former prisoners who feel they've been a victim of a miscarriage of justice, to have their convictions overturned, get those cases back into court. Anyone who's been in prison, like myself and many others, will know from direct experience that there were many, many people who were the victims of a conveyor belt system of justice, or injustice probably more importantly, tortured, fast-tracked to the courts, and dumped into prison camps for many, many years. And we believe there's an opportunity now for individuals to bring those cases back to court, to have their convictions overturned. We'll also be intend to document the evidence of torture. Torture was obviously a critical part of that conveyor belt system that sent so many innocent people to prison. So we're going to be documenting the evidence of that with a view to possibly taking prosecutions against the people who were responsible for that. So it's great to have the Sinn Féin MEP here today, Martina. Just to let, she's a former prisoner herself, to let her know what the project is about. Of course she's come here today and she's very supportive of the project, so it's great to have her.
And Martina Anderson, former prisoner and now MEP. What's the importance of being here today and what do you hope to be able to do for the centre?
Well, I think it was crucially important to get a briefing as a former prisoner or myself. And when we realised that this information about convictions and wrongful convictions, how well that was documented in the past, and we had people like Father Murray and Father Falls, and they had done sterling work, but a gap has emerged since then. And it's almost when now that we've emerged from conflict that you realise that some things that we found acceptable during the conflict, expected to happen to us during the conflict, but when you apply the standard, the human rights standard, against what happened, it was absolutely wrong. And as a result of that, wrongful convictions obviously emerged, and there were hundreds of Republican prisoners went through the jail and through a conveyor belt system. And therefore having a system now like this, having a centre like this, that's going to help collate and document and report all that has happened, I think what you could see emerging from this is a challenge against those who were involved and who actually brought about the kind of wrongful convictions that meant that you had many men and women serving years imprisonment, which they shouldn't have done if the human rights test had been applicable.
Well, today we're very grateful that she took time out. That she's a busy woman. She's an MEP, you know, and well, basically, I would be a volunteer and part of the Still in Prison project, which is part of Tarnal, you know, where we help ex-prisoners through addiction, through mental illness, through and even befriending, you know, that a lot of prisoners, ex-prisoners, women prisoners especially as well, are isolated and feel alone and turn to alcohol or prescribed drugs. So we'd signpost people, you know, till drug awareness, Gamblers Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, and Alcoholics Anonymous, you know. So at the end of the day, we're a stepping stone in. We've got counsellors, we've 15 counsellors at the moment who are all fully trained, diploma, who give their time voluntary. We're trying to cover whatever angle we can and give whatever help we can. And it's a voluntary organisation through Tarnal, through Costa. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's been a great opportunity to be here and to be with Martina and Jennifer and Paul, you know. So thanks very much.
Where's our Paul?
Let me go and see this. Hello, how are you? It's very important for us, and we're really pleased that she's come all this way to spend time with us. We're the over 50 group, 50 plus, as you know. We're all Republican women. Have been Republican activists all our lives, all this present campaign. Some of them have done other campaigns, and you've got the like Annie Cackle and all there, and Mrs. McGarrigan who's here, who's 90 and have been campaigning, you know, from the wee girls like. But the like of Martine, yeah, we've been over when Barbara de Bruyne was over in Brussels, and she took us as a group over there, and it was a wonderful experience. It really was. And just to be there in the Parliament and to be where everybody sits and you know, and we put the flags around us and all, we were really delighted to be there. So Martine says we're talking about maybe like what's the situation we're funding and things like that there. I know things are really tight at the minute. We're completely self-sufficient, but this group here, Tarnal, needs funding for us, for enable us to come here. If they weren't here, we wouldn't be here. We'd be sitting looking out the windows. Poor wee pensioners.
And obviously nice to meet you again. It's very, very important that we have Martina Anderson, who's the MEP, and with Paul Maskey here, who's the MP, and Sue Ramsey, who's one of the MLAs for the area, and myself. It's very, very important that we come out to local community-based projects such as this that offer such a wide range of services for people in the local community. You've just visited the creche and the childcare facility. We could actually, in speaking with the coordinator of the Women's Centre today, we could actually do 3 or 4 of them in this one building alone for the need is there in this local area. And I really, really think it's important that we go back then into our respective departments or whatever we have responsibility for, and to ensure that we're saying, you know, that services such as Falls Women's Centre do in terms of training, in terms of childcare and all the other services that they actually give to the local community, that it's important that the resources are put in so them services continue.
What sort of reaction do you get from the senior management team, indeed staff in organisations like this on the ground, when they're confronted with such a barrage of ministerial positions?
Well, I think that basically what people are trying to do is trying to make us aware of what their concerns are, what their issues are. There's big concerns, as you know, all over the welfare reform's a big concern for people that live in these communities that use these services. You know, and I was thinking that it's very important that they're actually able to speak with you directly on site and show you what's happening here, but also that they're able to actually express those concerns directly to you. Is his name able to catch Bilga? How are you?
Thomas and Shaw ag bar bohar dún an Ireland Shaw. So night ves radio falcha lean ra olu. Tonight Shaw mechanic ag an ag reaction to Ferguson on an ag reaction. Agus so cousin a chance go ta Gulleray to Cahru Gaeltachta Marshall did to Ruddy Alla Gulleray to Ruddy Gulleray to Skull Trasn and Boher to to couple of Gulleray to Far Collinshin who Uber is a Culterland or Namalvin Shin Foster, Tancluan Arda Giri, Uber Taglor Namona Giri, Uber Yanni Foster. We saw Rod into Tawak, as Rod Stratajak, August Rod Region Achatown, by Radio Falcha, Lonahan Shaw, August Special Giri, who said to win last night saw more satellites, the Radio Exla Ella, Agantera Exla Ella, Harn Adilling. Rod for doing an organ of Shaw, by the Special Glogu and organ of Shaw. Golugus is Fedger, Ta Kisti and Esti Acta Gaeliga, and target for Garage McAv, a goal Bugna Kurakid Mila, a Curse Jacks, a Fatan Shaw, Ta Halana Karak, Corave, Neil Midson go foil, but Thomas Tashimfiana Brewery, go may Halana Karak occur, Bugnak La Villian, Jahan Shaw, August Decal occur. Gag kid fi Kuigus Jacks a Fat the Foster. So there was a cancer next more than a million and so August an ITVS on be Radio Falsa Lonahan Shaw be na Paisi no the Dalty Scholar able to Jack Trasna August Kershi Trainal Yano was a Johnny Archiving was a Johnny Trainal be Dini Effectac and Clara Radio a Crelo o night show. So the Ites ain't the Tawak or Sakari Gael tak the first on. Gohara had a new tas eintak Tawakta, the Will Martina Anderson and Shaw, some ball parliaments na Horpa, a ta or Vohar na Wild, a Kahra Gaeltakta. August that's eintak Tawakta, go well and Changa, immune sicky, August he Hal and Russells, a Raladini, go well and Changa, ag fast, go Gasta. Major le Clarama, Thomas a Kent, Bedger and Vlian Shaw Hugging, Kaimaj, Neil Sogan Bedger. Lar Vlian Shaw Hugging, the cancer H Kai Cad Plan Leviaco, so Taz are going to process Master Fadlak, but Tassi ain't the brewer go well and Muncher Kahri Giltak, a whack listen organ of Shaw.
It's unheard of for us to have that type of access from an MEP into an area like this. It was great for us for Martina to take a time out of her schedule to come in and speak to people, but to speak to people who are charged with, who are tasked with, and who are working with us politically to make a change and difference in this area. We had a wide range and variation of community groups in here today. People who provide childcare, people who have a strategic overview for the direction of the area. We had them in this room today to discuss the issues that are affecting this area, but most importantly for us, it's about how we make those issues relevant to Martina and the MEPs in Europe. How we get the European Parliament to work for an area like Ballymurphy and the Upper Springfield is something that we've never done before. So from that point alone, it's been definitely well worth the time. People to take the time out of their busy schedules to get such an array and a political lineup in this area is good for us, and it's definitely good for this community.
I think it's been an excellent day, and it's about a learning curve for many people, including Martina Anderson, who's been recently appointed the MEP for the North for Sinn Fein. So she's done a lot of hard work up to now and will continue to do so in the future, and I suppose she's replacing Barbara de Bruin, who had left a legacy, and Martina has big shoes to fill, and I think that's important issue. So Martina's using this as a learning exercise as well, but also the groups that we have met today have brought some concerns, and major concerns regarding funding and sustainability with employment opportunities and all the areas that the European Parliament affect here in the North. So it's been a great day. Martina has taken plenty of issues on board, and we will come back to the groups who have met with regards to what we can do for them to enhance their sustainability for the future as well. So it's about getting out there, learning, seeing what it's all about. We've all done it, but it's absolutely excellent that an MEP can come into the area on the back even where we had a number of Sinn Féin ministers in the area in the constituency over the last weeks and months ago. So I think it's very important. We're continuing on that. But what we want to do is deliver for the people of West Belfast, and that's exactly what we're here to do. Martina Anderson, as the MEP, can certainly help us in doing that. The ministers who were in the last couple of months will help to do that also. So it's about driving the issues forward and making sure that we are delivering for the people who put us in the positions where we're in today.
I think West Belfast has got a lot to offer other areas, and I'm not just saying that because I'm here, but being in this actual building I think is a demonstration of how social economy projects work, and I've never seen the number of people who have been employed in social economy projects across the North like I've seen in West Belfast. That said, despite the fact of good work that's going on in the social economy projects, there's an awful lot of pressure that people are under, particularly in this moment in time, funding pressure. And you can't have £4 billion taken out of your block grant by the British government and it not have an impact. So the importance of European funding is starting to loom large, and it's not just in West Belfast. A number of meetings that I have done since taking on this position, and I must say I have big shoes to fill. With Barbara de Bruin. Barbara has been a sterling MEP, and I know it's going to take me a long while to get my head around a lot of the issues. But when you consider the fact that there are 400 funding streams in Europe, and Europe they talk in a way that I think is like monopoly money, because they talk in billions, everything's in billions, but the North is very poor in accessing that money, and we're really at the bottom of the ladder. And what I want to do is try and help organisations like this and many others across the North, at least by way of giving them access to the information, letting them know what's there, letting them know what's available, and giving them some kind of assistance to draw it down. I can't draw it down for them. I don't have that skills and those knowledge bases that are out there, but these organisations do. But what is required, I think, is the information that we can glean from Europe to make sure that that is shared, particularly across not just West Belfast, but across the North. We're sitting at the moment with £12 almost billion sitting in research development money that hasn't been drawn down yet. So we're coming into a new round of funding, and I hope as an MEP that I'll make some bit of difference to people's lives.